to the Sex with Dr. Zen Show. My name's Marianne Marla. I'm hosting the very first show tonight here at the Tantra Lounge in Toronto. And tonight I have 5 great guests, 5 super topics, talking about that really lovely thing we all love more than sleep, sex. My first guest is Enzina De Angelis. She's from Richmond Hill and she's from the Energy Zone, talking to us about our sex chakra and actually how our energy centers in our body can actually stimulate that area in our body. My next guest is going to be talking to us about naked yoga. His name is Andre Cardis, and he's from Yogi Bears in Toronto, and we're just going to get talking about naked. We all love to be naked. And the next guest I have is a very spiritual, sacred composer of sacred music, and Darren Austin Hall. And he's got some singing bowls, some crystal vibration bowls, and we're going to be talking about how that vibration, when we listen to it, if we're engaged in making love with our partner, how it can actually enhance that intimate sexual pleasure with our partner. And my next guest is one of my good, sexy nutrition dietitian, Louise Ferguson, and she wrote a book, and I'm going to bring that on the show as well. We're going to get sexy with food, sexy with taste, and we're just going to get into a little reminder of how the nutrients in our body, when we take them in correctly, can actually enhance sexual energy. And my last guest, every talk show host has to have a good friend, Gail, and Gail Scott's going to join me. She is a lifestyle and self-expression coach, and we're going to get into touching base on how to get out of our sexual comfort zone. 5 great guests, super topics, and you won't want to miss it. We're going to be right back after this. Hi, welcome back to the show, Sex with Dr. Zen, and my first guest is from the Energy Zone in Richmond Hill. You drove far.
Yeah, quite a drive.
Enzina
Yes.
De Angelis, and it's really nice to have you here.
Well, thank you.
I talked to you a little bit about this show, and it deals with sex and our energy centers in our body. I know there's a sexual energy center, the sacral chakra,
Yes.
and it sits right in the pelvic area, but explain a little bit about that energy center, where we can actually have that energy ripple down to that center. What's the first energy center? And explain those chakras a little bit.
Well, the chakras, there's 7 main chakras located along the spine.
Right.
Along the first one is down at the base of the spine. The second one is the sacral chakra, which is located in sort of the abdominal area. Then there's the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat, the forehead or brow, and then the crown. So the heart chakra is actually in the middle of the energy system, and with the heart chakra, basically it's the center of love. I find that the people that come to me when I focus on the heart and help them to heal issues, past issues like unforgiveness and lack of compassion or self-acceptance, then that energy actually goes into all the other chakras, including the sacral chakra.
Right.
And it helps to basically enliven and become more vibrant in every area of life.
Right. What kind of exercises do you work with your clients with to open up that heart chakra? Because I know it's an intimate place. I mean, what about just loving touch and just hugging? Can that open up that center?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Loving touch, hugging, and also yoga poses, gentle yoga.
Right.
You can even just very simple shoulder rolls back.
Okay.
Like you don't have to do anything major.
Right.
And a lot of us are sitting in front of computers nowadays, so we're hunched over, and this area of the body gets us tension.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And so this rippling effect, when you have, is that the center that you should start with, to have it that energy ripple through the rest of the body, so it can essentially unblock the other energy centers?
Yeah, that's what I find is with the heart chakra, because it's actually the center of the energy system. There's 3 below and 3 above, and it's like a bridge between the body, mind, and spirit.
Right.
And once that is taken care of by different kind of techniques, like I even brought some little props here.
Chimes here.
This actually is the I have 7 different type of Tibetan healing bowls.
Right.
And this one is actually resonating with the heart chakra. So
Cool.
basically just the sound.
Is it the size of it?
Basically it's
That
the
gives-
sound, like it's the note, and also intention, the power of intention. So intention plus the frequency of the sound will give healing and will help the energy to flow.
I've seen those bowls, different sizes and different material that they're made out of. When you rotate that paddle around it,
Would you like me to try it?
well, is it
To show you?
to get into take the body energy and have it come out the arm and onto the bowl?
Yes, yes.
I mean, would that
Yes,
enhance
definitely.
that opening of the
So-
energy centers as well?
Yeah, definitely.
So you just
And
get
also,
into it,
like,
meditate with it.
Yes, meditation. So I was going to say the spirit, the body, and the mind become tuned together. So you get the idea.
So with the tone, is there different tones that we should be listening to in order to open up the heart chakra? I mean, is it that size, that particular material of that bowl made for the heart chakra?
This is made for the heart chakra. However, as I briefly touched on before, it mainly goes by intention.
Right.
So if you have an intention, it doesn't actually matter how big the bowl is or what sound it makes. Through the intention, it will definitely bring the results that you would like.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you start by opening up the sacral chakra first, or should you always start from the heart?
Well, personally, in my work, I always open up the heart first, and then as I said, it ripples into all the other chakras, including the sacral.
Right. And how can that enhance relationships with your partner once they know that that place is open again and big intimacy comes back into their lives, into their relationship, into the bedroom?
Well, it enhances it because it's all about self-love, and
Right.
the root of anything in life, including sex, is loving yourself and loving others and self-acceptance. So
Right.
once you have that through your heart,
Right.
then definitely it goes to all
Yeah.
areas.
I think that there's a lot of people that have blocks in that sex chakra, and they don't realize that it's really based on what they feel and express with themselves. Once they
Mhm.
open up that place in themselves and be comfortable with their sexuality,
Mhm.
they have to love themselves first,
Mhm.
and they're going to be stuck and not being able to have that energy released from the
Yes.
sacral unless they start to love themselves. And that can take years.
Yeah.
How long would it take?
I totally
One
agree.
therapy going on.
I totally agree. Yeah, it has to start with themselves and with ourselves.
Right.
And there's different techniques, different things that can help.
What are these?
I brought
things
some
over here that
oils
can
here. This one is called Peace and Calming from the Young Living essential oils, and I'll have you smell this one.
Is it an aphrodisiac smell?
It helps
It's
with your
turning
heart.
Ooh,
And
that's really nice.
yeah,
So that's a gentle.
yeah.
That's a gentle one. I love that.
So this can be used
Rub
either
it on your heart.
Yeah, inhaling, or you can rub it on your wrist,
Yeah.
or do you want to try a
Yeah,
drop?
please.
Okay.
So
You can rub your wrists
yeah,
together.
It's got a color to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
organic.
blend. It's got citrus in there.
How important is smell when you're opening up your chakras?
It's really important.
It is.
The
So
sense
sound
of
and smell.
Yeah, the sense of smell is the only thing that can affect actually the central part of the brain,
Right.
the amygdala, where the emotions reside.
Right.
So like if you
So cool.
go somewhere and there's like the smell of chocolate chip cookies baking, and instantly you're transported to your grandma's kitchen and when you were little.
Love. Yeah, it gets you in that cozy, warm love place.
Yeah.
Perfect. What are these things that you brought here?
So these two things are angel oracle cards. People do come to me for advice through angel readings.
Okay,
and,
so couples can come to you and they can like pick a card and then they know what's going on. That chakra's blocked and that chakra's blocked.
Yeah, it's true.
There's lots more to talk about chakras, and it was really enlightening. I learned a little bit. Actually, I keep learning a lot. There's so much more to learn. It was really great to have you on the show. And so you're in Richmond Hill, Energy Zone. Where can people find you?
They can
the website?
Find me through my website. It's www. Oh, that's a tongue twister. Anyway, theenergyzone.ca.
Right.
And also I do some of my consults over the phone or Skype, so that's worldwide.
That's really important.
Yeah,
so a lot of people are computerized.
Yeah. Theenergyzone.ca, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's great having you here.
Thank you.
Great. Hi, welcome back to the Sex with Dr. Zen Show, and I have my next guest with me here, Andre Cardis. Great to have you here. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too.
From Yogi Bear in Toronto. Yogi Bear, like, what is Yogi Bear?
What is Yogi Bear?
What is Yogi Bear?
It's nude yoga. So we do a lot of nude yoga. We do massage, Tantra, and sex education.
So, like nude yoga, is it important to get naked for yoga? How?
For yoga in general?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have an aversion to getting naked, and we're trying to get, whether it's alone even, like some people aren't even comfortable being naked alone.
Right.
But alone at yoga when it's in a class with other people. And what we're trying to do is really change how people see their bodies, how they see themselves and their sexuality.
Yeah, get rid of that shame thing. It's okay to be naked.
It's okay to be naked.
So, like, is it co-ed? Can men and women join in?
Yes, so we have a new class starting in October 4th. It's an all-gender class, so it has men and women, and sometimes people identify differently, so they're all welcome.
Right. In the classes, do people get turned on at all? Like,
of course.
You see people like getting hard on and stuff like that?
We do. It's one of the number one questions we get from men for our men's classes.
So, like, are people comfortable doing, like, do they gawk around at somebody? Like,
well, here's the thing.
The women looking at the guy?
Here's the thing, that
although, honestly, I would.
Although it happens, it's rarer than you think.
Really, hey?
Because our instructors, they do a good job of getting you focused on the yoga. Cool. So it's about being comfortable with yourself, even if you have an erection. So you just keep going, or you rest in child's pose.
Yeah, I guess being naked in front of strange people you've never met before be kind of inhibiting.
It could be. I think that's the thing. Can we separate in our mind, being naked from having sex? So a lot of people, that's the only time when they're actually naked with somebody else, is when they're having sex.
Right.
And so, but there's a whole bunch of other modalities,
and most of the time the lights are off.
The lights are off when you're having sex?
Yeah. So I can't,
well, I mean, maybe for you. I mean, sometimes.
Well, not for me.
No?
I mean, there was a time.
Lights on?
Well, there was a time. There was a time where I wasn't comfortable with my naked body. And so I think that's in a controlled environment, like a learning environment that you're offering with Yogi Bear. I think it's great because people need to get out of that. It's okay. We're born naked, for God's sake.
Definitely.
We die naked.
Well, I mean, some of us get dressed up and mollied up.
Would you encourage people when they, let's say, bring it into their daily life? Do you think do you explain that people should try to implement that nakedness ritual in some kind of daily routine? Like cook naked once a day or something like that?
That's not a bad idea.
Like, how important do you think that would be?
I think generally our society is moving in that direction. So I go to Hanlon's Point often, which is our clothing optional beach here in Toronto.
Oh yeah?
I was actually even there this Saturday.
What goes on there?
Well, what goes on there is there some people that enjoy going to the beach naked.
Yeah.
Men, women. even families sometimes, but there's a whole bunch of people that don't.
Right.
But what I've noticed is over the years a lot that I've gone is more and more young people are going naked, which is encouraging for me to see that sort of the next generation, which is part of our intent too, the next generation is also exploring nudity and different modes of sexuality and really bringing in a more sensual aspect
Yes.
into their intimate encounters with other people, but also being able to separate that out and just be naked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, and to be able to be naked and not have, you know, the throws at you like, ooh, baby, kind of thing, you know, or, you know.
When it becomes, I think, in cultures where it's more repressed, that is more likely to be that kind of behavior.
Yeah, that's good stuff that you do down there. I haven't even gone.
Well, you should come out.
I know.
So in October, I welcome you to come try a class. On the Saturday, we're at the Thompson Hotel,
Okay,
so it's nice and cozy.
nice. How long has Yogi Bear been up and running?
Since December of 2013. So yeah,
Very new.
kind of on a whim.
Yeah, for sure.
I had gone to a whole bunch of classes in New York and Montreal, and even here in Toronto. There was always something missing for me, and I felt like they weren't really doing enough to reach out to the younger generation. And so
Yeah.
that's part of what we're trying to do.
That's
with this.
perfect,
Make
yeah.
it more mainstream.
Yeah. So what about Tantra yoga? What is
Tantra
that?
yoga.
I mean, what is it?
What's Tantra? So Tantra is living mindfully, but I think the way that we interpret it is more how can we use that sexual energy that builds
Right.
in our chakras, in our energy centers, and spread that energy throughout our body so that it has a healing impact, so that it opens up your heart,
Right.
and being able to use that energy for spiritual development.
Right.
So that's what it does.
So when people are, do you have couples that come so that they can learn to be together naked? Let's say they've always been in the dark with their, you know, nakedness when they're making love, and they go into a, you know, an environment where they're just doing yoga. It's not like sex or anything. So they like maybe see their partner for the first time on the floor on the yoga mat. So how does that help couples? You know,
I think it opens
see each other. They see each other's naked
differently.
body.
Yeah, I think exploring Tantra
Yes.
and doing yoga where there's some maybe partner poses or intimate touch involved,
Right.
it makes you slow down
Mhm.
and really feel and see that person in a different light. And
Yeah.
and what we try to promote too is a different mode of communication, of giver and receiver, of really being able to communicate. I think that's what's lacking in a lot of our society. What are your needs? What are your desires? And can you express those to someone else so you can negotiate
Right.
a kind of interaction that both of you enjoy? And I think, you know, whether that's intimate touch or if it's yoga or sex, I think that's really important.
You do sexuality coaching?
We do sex ed, and we kind of
Sex ed, what's involved with that?
so really it's kind of all of our Tantra stuff in one, but it can be classes around different techniques for masturbation.
Really?
It can be classes that really focus on how to give and receive touch. So those are all areas in which we're going to be moving into.
Different folks at masturbation, that sounds really,
Well, I think sometimes people have, you know, one or
Broad.
two techniques,
yeah.
whether it's in pleasuring themselves or someone else, and you know, how do you explore that? And I think bringing more spontaneity into your life is always a good
Cool.
thing too.
What's this shirt you have on?
Oh, so this is our logo.
That's your new logo.
This is our
Yes.
logo. I don't know if you saw that
I
last
haven't
time.
seen it.
No, and then we have a slogan too, which is
Take it off. Take it.
Dare to be bare.
Ooh, oh, that's awesome.
So with this, that's basically our challenge to people, right?
Yeah.
Because it really is something that's beyond most people's comfort zone.
Yep.
And so we're saying, yeah, just keep pushing that and see if you try something, if you experience something, if you like it.
I know you have to keep trying, but this is the thing, is getting over that fear, you know, people are afraid to explore sexuality, period. Like even, or nakedness, period. I mean, you know, it's like a bad omen, you're not supposed to. I mean, you're asking for trouble if you're going to be standing stark naked. Basically, it's the old school.
We
you know?
get a lot of those questions, or sometimes people are like, why do you need to do naked yoga? Why can't it just be regular yoga?
It's freeing for the body, you know.
It's freeing for the body.
Honestly, the sexual energy lives on your body. It lives right here on the surface of the skin when you're all clothed up. You know, it's kind of hard to explore that freedom. I mean, look at babies when they run around naked, and how, you know,
It's definitely very liberating.
it is liberating.
And I think it's something that, you know, it is our natural form, and why not be comfortable in it?
So how do people get a hold of you and the facility where you are in Toronto? Do you have a website?
We do. It's www.yogibear.ca, and we're at 2 locations, at the Glad Day Bookshop on the 3rd floor, and also at the Thompson Hotel on the 3rd floor.
Awesome. It was great having you here.
Thanks for having me.
Sex with Dr. Zen out in London.
Yeah, that was
Now
fantastic.
you're here in
time.
Toronto. We're moving.
All right, love
All
it.
right, great. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to the Sex with Dr. Zen Show. And my next guest is Darren Austin Hall, who he's on a mission to create and compose sacred healing music. And that's really important to me because I know how zen-y that makes me feel and gets me into the mood for sex and stuff. So just tell me a little bit about your profession and what you do and your background about your music.
Yeah, well, I've been basically getting into sound healing about 5 years ago. I was studying Chinese medicine, and then always been a musician my whole life, and always been into spirituality. And you know, I just found this way to merge all of those worlds, and it's interesting because it's actually a very ancient tradition of using music and sound for healing, to inspire the soul, to inspire spiritual states.
Cool.
And from there, it was just synchronicities, meeting different people. I've met some fabulous producers and fabulous musicians, and now I'm making my 3rd album right now.
Wow.
It's just, they're very popular, people are loving it.
So when you're composing and making healing music, is it particularly healing something, or just healing the soul, the spirit?
Well, the music I make is actually, a lot of it's very improvisational. I'm very inspired by the idea of actually singing without words as well. One of my favorite bands is Sigur Rós, and Dead Can Dance as well. Lisa Gerard's a very famous singer in the world, and a lot of people don't know, but she actually just invents sounds when she sings. And there's something very incredible about performing that way, because there's no words for people to latch onto. And it tends to hit people right in the heart.
Right.
And when I perform with these singing bowls, with guitar, all these different instruments, and I sing from that fashion, improvise, it's almost like I'm channeling.
Do you sing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's my big thing, singing. I call it shamanic singing. Because the shamanic tradition was literally just like keying into a higher realm and bringing forth songs from what they called these lines, where there's ancestral spirits, different entities singing into song lines.
Right.
And the shaman would bring that song into their body, which carries information, because
Right.
vibration is informative.
Right. I know about vibrational healing sounds. I listen to some drum healing music that's actually geared for opening up the sacral chakra, the sex chakra, and it's actually, it can enhance
Absolutely.
and
Do a little
sort of
shaking.
amplify your lovemaking with your partners. Do you do any type of composing for that type of music?
I think my music in general is very ecstatic. The music that I make is kind of untitled. No one's really been doing it for a long time, I think. So I've called myself many different names. It's always changing, and sometimes I call myself an ecstatic singer.
Right.
And the feelings that come through in my music, I think, are definitely invoking of
Right.
those sacral energies,
Yeah.
the root chakra. So I would hope that my album would be something that would be a great soundtrack to lovemaking in some ways.
That's a creative spot. I mean,
Mm.
opening up that energy center. We don't just become creative in sex, but I mean, it's once it's activated with vibrations, can open up like creative doors that never have opened before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people's creativity, especially in this culture, is very untapped.
Yeah.
And people have made the separation between sexuality and creativity. They don't realize it's the same energy.
Right.
I also teach sacred sexuality workshops, and something I try and tell people, because there's a lot of hot sexual energy in our culture, and a lot of people use the orgasm to release tension. And that can be fun, especially for women, but with men, ejaculation actually weakens your system, and as you get older, tremendously so.
Right.
So I try and tell people when they have that orgasmic feeling to actually ask themselves, what do you want to create? because maybe it's actually they want to be a little more creative in that moment,
Right.
but they're so used to associating that energy to their sex drive.
Right.
And that helps to uplink it to a bigger, expansive energy.
Yeah, do you know about Montauk Geo? Have you read
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you know him.
Yeah,
I read some of his stuff, and I know all
Yeah,
about
great
that
stuff.
harnessing and sublimating that sexual energy from a man, but when he gets 40 and up. I mean, there's
I would say younger. I would say.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think people, as young as you can get a man to really start tempering how much they ejaculate, more the better. I mean, in the yoga tradition, I'm a yoga teacher as well.
Right.
They talk about how menses and semen are basically correlated to the essence, the nectar that feeds the whole body, the soul.
Right.
And it has so much energy in it. I mean, it creates life.
Right.
You know, and it can create your own life within your ideas and such. And I find that when people start to cultivate that energy within themselves, all of a sudden their lives become so much more creative. Their
Yes.
dreams start to be obtainable because
Totally.
they have so much more energy.
I totally get
Yeah.
it because I'm doing it. Honestly, like, if I
There you
look
go.
back and like 10 years ago, I would never thought I'd be doing like a show. Like, and all these doors things that have been opening, I'm like, holy crap, I've written a book, I've done this. Like, I've
Ah.
channeled and opened up that creative
Interesting.
place, abstaining from orgasm, really, basically, but stimulating it. So it's okay to stimulate it.
Well, you
The
can have-
energy, that orgasmic energy, with vibrational healing sounds and movement with yoga,
Absolutely.
and then take it out somewhere else.
Well, sound is something that people should be making a lot more in
Right.
sex as well. Because when you make a sound, your whole body is composed of water.
Right.
Water generates sound 5 times faster than air. So, I know we all live in this city where we're on top of each other, but I really encourage people to make a lot more sound
When they're
having sex.
when they're having sex,
Absolutely, especially men.
through the throat chakra.
Through the throat, but through the whole body. Like
Yeah.
breathe in the energy all the way down to your pelvis and
Own
allow
it.
the sound to come from your genitals.
Right, draw the energy with breath,
Yeah.
so that you're pulling it out of the genitals. Yeah,
absolutely.
going right up the spine where all
Yeah.
the 4 energy centers sit and get it pop right out of your head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It can happen.
I've experienced it many times.
Have you?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some sound here
Yeah.
with your crystal bowls.
Yeah, so these are quartz crystal singing bowls.
See
They
if
both
you
have
can
gold in them as well.
Get
So
the
they're very
people out
powerful.
there in the audience turned on with this vibration
Yeah.
here. Ooh. That one's going right into my wherever.
I can't say that was my intention.
Can't say, but I tell you where it goes. So, and it lingers.
Oh,
And then follow the vibration
Oh.
with your voice.
Yeah.
Like sing it, hum it, the
Yeah.
mantra, chant it.
Mm.
Just like it's the Buddhist way.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, absolutely.
But okay, so I'm thinking like in the monastery and when they, the Buddha humming and all the hymns and stuff, were they all getting turned on or something
Well,
underneath those like robes and stuff?
There's a great book people should read called Passion and Enlightenment, which is the sexual origins of Buddhism. And a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more women involved in Buddhism than we think.
Really,
And,
eh?
yeah, and they were the main teachers of men. There's actually an ancient text where the Buddha said that he didn't attain enlightenment under the Bodhi trees with sexual relations with his wife.
Right.
But he had to tell the story under the tree because a lot of commoners at that time didn't have time to do all the sexual rites.
Right.
So yeah, it was through men and women coming together or people of same sex through sacred sexuality that enlightenment can happen.
Yeah.
It's
And
really powerful.
women are still teaching.
Oh, absolutely. Women are the teachers, that's for sure when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. What is this CD here that you have?
So this is the Tantra of Truth. This is an album that I just released last year, and it's kind of a soundtrack to the state of consciousness I see that's going on our
Right.
planet. It's all being
Right.
raised. So it combines guitar and electronic elements as well. So you have bowls and techno.
You play
beats.
guitar?
I do. Yeah,
Do you?
guitar was my first.
I
Well,
just
voice
learned.
was my first
I
instrument.
just
Oh yeah.
learned, yeah. Guitar is it's one of the sexiest instruments
Oh,
on the face of
absolutely.
this earth.
Yeah.
I picked it up and I started picking at it. I'm not very sexy at it yet. But I'm trying to get better at it. This really great having you here tonight.
Oh, thank you.
You
It's
know,
great being
all
here.
kinds of healing stuff going on. This really is calming, and I'd like people to get in touch with you. Do you have a website?
Yeah, www.darrenaustinhall.com. is my website, and I also run a yoga studio in Toronto called Yoga Village, yogavillage.ca in Roncesvalles. So.
Everybody's getting into yoga. This
Oh,
is like this is like a revolution going on.
It's the biggest spiritual movement that the planet's ever seen, in my
Oh,
opinion.
I'm glad to be part of it. Are you?
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. It was great having you here. Well,
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Great. Hi, welcome back to the Sex with Dr. Zen show, and my next guest is Louise Ferguson, and she's my sexy registered nutritionist. I love to talk about food and sex together, like how just food, we get out of touch with what that can actually do.
We do,
For, for sex, and how do we even think about it?
We do. And
It goes
just-
hand in hand.
It does. And when you think about life, life is about eating, life is about reproducing, food and sex.
Right.
And the interesting thing is that the cells on your tongue and on your lips and on your genitals are more sensitive than any of the cells in any other part of the body. But probably everybody already knows that. But that's about pleasure. So the pleasure of eating so that we're nourished, so we can live strong and healthy, and then reproduce and have fun with sex.
Wow. I mean, you know what? I'm looking at all of this right here. This baby's right in the way. But
Basilisk tree.
honestly, like this is like you look at it first, right? I mean, you visualize this stuff, and you have to like just take your time and look at it.
You do.
Because it's sexy just looking at it.
And that's one of the things.
Honestly.
It's the sight. Our eyes are one of the. You let them turn us on.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think of when you think of like these things?
You don't want to know.
Okay. But anyway, or these things here. It's all the same. Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Just, so it's using your sight to just imagine and as you said, just be in the moment and allow
Yeah.
these things that are in our past, in our DNA from a long time ago, the suggestions.
Right.
So, and then this is so feminine. See with the beautiful red.
It's like split right open.
Yeah, it is. That's right. And then this. So just imagine yourself holding a juicy peach and then biting into the soft flesh.
Honestly,
Yeah.
with all that soft fur,
Yes.
or like a
That's right.
like a
Look
vagina
at
fur,
that. Yeah.
like feeling like that freshly shaved pubic area. Honestly, it
And that's
really,
the sense of feel.
yeah,
And yeah,
Yeah.
the feel.
it's stimulating.
It is stimulating.
we-
and so to allow it, there's so much about food that is
Just give me that
stimulating.
thing again, because yeah.
So you like it.
But you close your eyes and you start to feel it. You
Yes.
can start to. There's the clitoris right there.
We didn't know the peaches were so
Oh,
sexy.
no, they are.
And then just look
Yeah.
at a strawberry. Look at
Yeah.
the color. The color red is very, very stimulating.
Yeah.
And then here you have this. Let the aroma. Just smell that. The aroma. It can just pull
Oh.
you in. See.
Oh.
And then this little handle here. So it's just perfect to just put that between the lips of your partner.
Yes.
So it's just lovely and luscious.
Mm,
And that's what it's
really
about.
good.
The color and the
So
fragrance.
the red color, I'm curious about that. That's associated with what?
Well, definitely the root chakra. So if we're
Mhm.
talking about chakras, it's life, it's robustness,
Yeah.
it's our root chakra, and it's blood, and it's just life itself.
Yeah, it's funny because I see red everywhere when you are looking at red ruby lips and
Yes.
the nighttime red lights and
Yes, it's red. It's just so
and,
exciting.
it's attached with sex or some kind of sexual encounter that's going to happen. The red district, the red
yes,
zone.
Yes, it is.
So
That's right. So that's the color. And so I made some brownies. Speaking of red, I made
what
brownies.
kind of brownies are they?
They have beets in them.
Beets?
So beets for that
Mm.
red color, and I put
Yep.
cinnamon because cinnamon really tends to get the blood flowing.
Oh, okay.
So cinnamon, it has a bite to it, and
Yeah.
it's a pleasure.
Right.
And then chocolate, of course.
Mm.
So Emperor Montezuma.
Yeah, I want to know about this
Yeah.
Emperor Montezuma.
Okay.
I mean, like, because this guy had like a harem
600
of 600 women.
He did.
Honestly, how did he like?
Get a lip. He used chocolate. He drank. They say he drank 50 goblets of chocolate every day
Mm.
to get the lift that he needed to make his 600 women happy.
Jeez.
So that was about the chocolate. And then I want to tell you about some research that I read too in the Journal of Sexual Medicine. Nice reading.
Yeah.
And so they did a test with 163 women, and they found that the women who ate more chocolate functioned at a higher sexual level than those who did not enjoy so much chocolate.
So yeah, we're told that chocolate's not good for us, this and that, but yeah, we're learning different things
We're
now.
learning. And the nice thing about chocolate, it does have serotonin, and it has phenylamines, phenylethylamines.
And what
And so
what do
those
they
are the
do?
things that in your brain, that's what you feel when you fall in love.
Oh. So you have to, is that the only way you can get that stimulated, is to eat those?
Eat chocolate or fall in love. Maybe
Okay.
both. Both at once, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. So these other fruits here, like
Yes.
some nutritional
See, some little
areas.
nutritional tips. And I think, yeah, you mentioned, like, what should you eat or not eat, just really to give you the nutrients that you need to have a healthy sex life?
Yeah, because there are things that can spur that
Yes.
aphrodisiac thing.
Exactly.
Spur your sexual
Or a
energy.
little drive. If it's going to put like an edge on a restaurant rendezvous or maybe
Yeah.
heal a relationship. The thing is, when you think about eating and making love, don't eat too much.
Right.
Or too gassy food.
Yeah.
Or too lethargic. You don't want to fall asleep. But you do need energy.
How important it is to have feeding each other while
Oh.
you're in the bedroom and you're playing around, and feed each other and just like pull it back, like,
Yes.
and tease them again with it and put it somewhere else, like putting grapes down in your vagina, and, have your partner like really taste what that grape tastes like. So before
it's
you
for
actually
fun.
have intercourse, I mean, it doesn't have to be that. You have to create, like, food and sex go hand in hand. So
They do.
you know,
And it's Food as Foreplay is the name of a book, and it makes great sense too. And I know that you had mentioned once about blindfolding. So when you blindfold someone, their sense of sight is gone, so they're trusting you totally. So all the sensations you can. One lady I know just said to her partner who was blindfolded, she put a bowl of chocolate pudding in front of him and said, just put your tongue right into that.
wow.
Just dive into that with your tongue. And then she put whipped cream on his fingers and licked it off. Or or honey on the tongue. When the person is blindfolded, what a sensation.
Yeah.
So
Warm it up a little too.
yes.
Trace it around the nipple area and just draw. Get the paintbrushes out and just start dipping some liquids and tasteful stuff all over your body, and get your partner to lick it off you.
Exactly. That's right. So it's playful, just as you were talking about with other guests about the fun of, well, being naked, the music, the vibrations. Use food as another tool to have fun.
What's this baby tree here?
What the basil is here for, because one of the things that women used to do in the past was they would take basil and crunch it up and put it all over their neck. And then that was to increase their sexuality.
Man?
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
got that too.
and so it would just on the neck. No, isn't it?
Well,
It's
that's
really,
what they did.
It's really sweet.
Yeah,
Sexy
it's really
sweet,
really
isn't it?
It is.
So
That's right.
you can put it under your underarms and put it on.
That's a great
down
idea.
your-
Or on the pillow,
down
maybe.
your crotch.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
That would
That's
be-
a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, there is the Smell and Taste Treatment and Research Foundation in Chicago.
Yeah.
They did some research to find out which of the food aromas
Isn't it good?
were the biggest turn on for a man.
I would go there.
And for a man, the biggest food aroma to turn him on was pumpkin pie.
What? Was it because of the spices?
Yes, that's right. So there's actual research that
cloves
shows
and-
pumpkin itself, or something in pumpkin, and then the nutmeg. There's really research that shows that is a stimulant for men.
Okay.
And for the women, the most stimulating food aromas, it was licorice mixed with cucumber.
No way. That's
Yeah,
kind of gross,
cucumber.
actually.
I know, but maybe, I don't know.
Maybe
some
with a
sort of-
cucumber that size, all
I
might
know.
work.
But many
So-
places you go now, they serve you water with cucumber slices in it.
Yeah,
so-
really quickly.
Yeah.
This
Oh, the pepper.
Yeah,
That's
really
right.
quickly.
So chocolate, as you know, we all
Yeah.
love chocolate, but sometimes you want to give your taste buds a surprise.
Yeah.
So then put black pepper, well, I should say black pepper on the strawberries, cayenne pepper on the chocolate.
Oh.
So you take a strawberry and then grind black pepper onto it.
Really?
So your taste buds like, whoa, that's different.
It's like throwing them all off whack, and
Yeah,
everything's
and they
like
like
waking
it.
up. It's really great
Wake it
having you
up.
here. How can people find you? Do you have a website?
I do, and it's eating and the number 4 ecstasy.com.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm having a lot of fun with you. I was talking with you before in the summer, and we had a lot of fun on the show.
Oh,
up there.
and oysters. We have to talk about
Yeah,
oysters
oysters.
another time.
Another time, another
Okay.
segment. Yep, great
Okay.
having you here.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thanks for having me. back to the Sex with Dr. Zen show, and my next guest is Gail Scott, and it's nice to have you here.
It's wonderful
I'm really
to be
excited.
here.
You look great in green.
Thank you.
Gail is a lifestyle self-expression coach. That's a big title because we're all wanting to express ourselves in life in general. So, just what do you do with that work that you do? Get people to express themselves in what way?
Well, I basically work with people at a pretty deep level.
Right.
A lot of people nowadays have lost their voice in terms of really being able to say who they are and what they want and how they want their life to be. And so what I do is I help them to access that inner essence that everybody has, but it's been quashed down by all kinds of different things.
You also work with people to try to get them out of their sexual comfort zone. And
I like to help
express.
people with their comfort zone of any kind.
Right.
Yeah.
But this one is really important to unleash.
Right.
And when we unleash it, it can bring like blissful things in our life. So, what's the beginning stages of working with people to get them to express their sexual self and get out of the comfort zone that you're just used to doing the same old thing in the bedroom?
Well, the first thing that you have to get familiar with is who are you being?
Right.
What are you doing? What results are they giving you?
Right.
And if you don't know what's going on because you're just not aware of who you're being, that's the start.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know. Most people find that something's not working,
Right.
and so that's where they start.
So, when we know that something's not working, how do we know there's a time when something's not working? I mean, do you fall with your relationship? It's just become stale?
There's all different signs and symptoms. So some people, obviously, they break up in their relationships.
Yeah.
Some people stay in relationships when they really should be breaking up, or they should be working on it. So more often than not, somebody's not happy for whatever reason. You've got different kind of energy going on with different people. So the first thing that I work with people to do is to get them to know themselves. It's not about their partner. It will ultimately be about being with their partner.
Right.
But oftentimes, you can't really be with someone until you're actually okay being on your own.
So it doesn't really just pertain to knowing yourself sexually. It's just knowing yourself, period.
Well, what we do some of the time is basically what we do all of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, getting sexy is really embracing,
Well, it is, and if you look at the media nowadays, you can see that we're just bombarded with very much egotistical, outside of ourselves kinds of things about our sexuality. It's just the environment that we live in.
Can we look at that and go, I want to be like that, and we try it and then we're not happy with it? I mean, so how do you get in tune with yourself again, though? I mean, where can we start?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to slow down.
Right.
Right? You want to really just slow the pace of everything down.
Right.
I mean, there's actually a book called In Praise of Slow,
Mhm.
and it talks about a slow movement that started in Italy. And part of that is about tantric sex, which is slowing everything down.
Slow sex.
Slow sex. What woman doesn't want? Slow sex a little bit more often.
Right.
So it's about really understanding that when we explore a tantric lifestyle, or we explore getting comfortable with who we really are, we get to look at, well, what works for me?
Right.
And then also, well, what doesn't work for me? Because sometimes we say yes to things that we don't want.
Why do we do that? I mean, why I wouldn't say yes. I mean, you've got to get better at it. I mean, most of us just do it because it's habit.
It's either habit or we're pleasing someone else.
We're not used to asking what we want. We're just used to just allowing it to happen through habit. So changing, you have to have a voice. Yeah, regain the voice maybe.
You
Just
do
start
have to
there.
regain your voice. And so oftentimes there's a lot of shame involved with sex.
Right.
There's a lot of family issues that come around sexuality, depending on how sex was talked about in your family. If it was free and open and you were, the body was a temple,
Right.
then that's one thing. But if there's shame around it, it's very difficult for people. A lot of people, have sex in the dark.
Gail. So I see these like floating feathers here.
Yeah.
This red thing.
This is
it's
my
really curious.
This is my boa.
I mean, I love this thing. So
I saved up to buy this boa.
So when we put that on, we put it on when we're naked just to get used to ourselves again.
Honey,
I
you
mean,
can put this on anytime.
honestly.
So the thing about getting out of your sexual comfort zone is that, first of all, you have to be willing to try something different. And that means that just with anything, you might like it, you might not.
Right.
There's no failure about any of it. It's just you get the response of, oh, that worked or that didn't work.
Right.
And with a partner, you get to play. We don't play enough.
Yeah, I think we
right?
forget to play. We are
So-
children, and the bedroom should be a playground. I mean,
It should be fun.
It should be the little sandbox.
It should be
You know,
totally the sandbox.
Honestly, start digging in there and
Yeah.
building those little sexy castles. Okay, so
So we can play with dress up, obviously.
Yeah.
We can play with fantasy. We can play with role play. Oftentimes we're afraid to be out of our comfort zone. We're afraid to actually tell our partner what we really want. We think that they're going to judge us,
Right.
or we're going to look silly. And you know, if you're afraid to tell them, write it down. You know, send them a text, something that's easy and doesn't really put you on the spot, or you know, write a story.
do you think
Read it.
if you're experimenting with fantasy or getting out of the comfort zone, give it a time frame during the intimate interaction with your, so that it doesn't have to go on and on? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I
mean,
do.
How important, like that, at least that gives you, okay, so if you're the person that's going to be wearing this and your partner doesn't want to see that, but if you say, I'm only going to do this for 5 minutes, honey,
Yeah.
and
I'm going to
then-
try it out.
then he might like it.
He might.
And then he might say, we've got to go over the 5-minute threshold. I love this. So you get to explore and experiment and go, this is something that I thought I wouldn't like, but I allowed myself to experience it for 5 minutes, and I learned to love it, and I want it to go on.
And so you don't know what it is that you want until you try it.
Right.
It's like new food, it's like new experiences. It doesn't
Right.
matter whether it's sex.
Right?
You can use things that help you. Like these are just some little fantasy coupons.
Yeah.
They just give you some ideas
Right.
of things that you might not think about otherwise. So these kind of things are easy. You can go to a bookstore. I mean, even your major bookstore has a huge section on
Right.
sexuality. But getting out of your comfort zone is more about, it's not so much about all of these.
You can't grow.
No,
You
you
can't grow in an intimate relationship that you want to last.
Right.
You can't grow further with that person unless you get out of the comfort. I mean, we're too comfortable. We have to, there's more to talk about this huge topic about getting out of that comfort zone. I'm a firm believer in it. It was great having you here. Do you have a website?
I have a website. It is gailscott.ca.
Great.
I'm also on Twitter every day at Gail Scottish.
Cool.
And I'd love to hear from people.
You are
what
Gail
they think.
Scottish.
I am Gail
Honestly,
Scottish.
great
I
having you
am.
here. Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming to the show tonight. It was great having 5 guests on that were talking about all those juicy topics we talked about. I want to thank my guys down at Bathurst and St. Clair who donated some gifts for my guests to take home at Evergreen Foods. They're 513 St. Clair Avenue West. And I want to also thank the Nikki Clark Network for giving me this platform to open up this show. Hopefully it's the first one of many that can return. And so I want to thank my guests again that joined me tonight on the show. And Zina DeAngelis from Richmond Hill from the Energy Zone. It was great having her on and just enlightening us about our energy centers in our body. And Andre Cardis, who was really getting kind of naked with yoga tonight. It was interesting talking to him about how, you know, our body is free to be naked, and we're healthier beings when we have our clothes off. And also my third guest, Darren Austin Hall, who enlightened us all on sacred healing sound of his music with the singing bowl. It was fantastic having him here, very enlightening. And Louise Ferguson, my dietitian, registered dietitian guest that I had on, who was playfully sending a little sexy picnic out to us all with food and getting playful with that. Gail Scott, also just opening us up to where we should be expressing ourselves a little bit more with our sexuality and just getting out of the comfort zone. Really great having all 5 guests here, and hopefully I can have them back on again for the next show. It was great having the network, Nikki Clark, also guiding me through this whole process. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here tonight. And I want to thank her network for just giving me the platform to open up Sex with Dr. Zen. Hopefully I could do another run with a couple of other shows. Great. And hopefully I'll have my audience come back. It was great having the support for everybody out there, honestly. Supportive, and hopefully you'll bring all your friends and their friends too the next time. Great. So have a good night. Closing the show, and everybody have a great night.